Count us in. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Glenorchy City Council for Monday, the 30th of September 2024. I'm Sue Hickey, Mayor of Glenorchy and Chairperson for this afternoon's meeting. Glenorchy City Council acknowledges the Muwinina people as the traditional owners of this land. While sadly the Muwinina people did not survive colonisation, we recognise all Tasmanian Aboriginal people as the original owners and continuing custodians of the land and waters of this island of Twitter. We pay our respects to elders past and present. We commit to working for a city that welcomes and respects all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Joining me in council today, we have Alderman Justin Stringer, Councillor Molly Kendall, Councillor Harry Quick, we have the Deputy Mayor Russell Yaxley, and we have our CEO Tony McMullen, and then we have Alderman Stephen King, and we have Alderman Stuart Slade and Alderman Josh Cockshut. Before we open our agenda, I take this opportunity to make a state about workplace health and safety. Glenorchy City Council takes workplace health and safety seriously, and this includes physical and psychological safety. We have a duty of care to ensure that it is a safe workplace here at Council, and we provide this for our employees, elected members, contractors, volunteers and members of the public who may be present at today's meeting, or any of our meetings for that matter. Council meetings form part of the Council's workplace, and it is expected that everyone who attends Council meetings will behave in a polite and respectful manner. The Council has endorsed a statement of intent setting out how we as elected members have agreed to conduct ourselves in representing the people of Glenorchy. In accordance with this, any disagreement should be expressed respectfully, remembering both during debate and in decision making that we are elected to represent and serve the people of Glenorchy and to make our city the best it can be. Finally, I note that the open section of this meeting will be live streamed and an audio-visual recording of the meeting will occur in accordance with the Council's recording of Council's meeting policy. Members of the public are not permitted to make audio or visual recordings of Council meetings. We have, I've just lost the count of agenda items tonight, 21 items on the agenda tonight. And we have apologies, which is item 1, and we have 2 apologies tonight. One is from Alderman Shane Alderton, who I believe is stuck in Melbourne due to flight delays, and Alderman Jen Dunsby is not with us either this afternoon. Can I have someone to confirm the minutes of the open meeting of Council for the 26th of August 2024 be confirmed?
So moved, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Slade. And Deputy, you were seconding that. Thank you. Any discussion or dispute on any of these things? No? Okay, I'll put that motion. All those in favour, raise your hand. It's carried unanimously. Now, announcements by the Chair. So we have a pool update. As we promised, we would update you every single time we have a council meeting. The $5 million to repair and reopen the pool was confirmed in the state budget handed down on the 12th of September, which we're very excited about. However, we do need our community to understand that we as a council who are responsible for fiscally managing the council cannot expend any funds until we have that grant deed finalised. And we're ready to go to tender with all of our paperwork to repair and reopen the pool, but we cannot do it until the budget is finalised. And so we're not certain of what date that is, and we actually have $5 million. I don't think I need to discuss that bit. A lot of people have been a bit concerned about the costings of the new pool. So our next open workshop will be a presentation of the business case on the pool by MI Global. It's a not to miss event. So I do expect everyone with an interest in the pool to be here. Please do not forget to register your interest in this session, and you can participate in person or online if that's a possibility. Now, city safety, as you know, this is a matter we're taking very seriously here at Council. As part of our strategy to address safety issues in Glenorchy, we held a wonderful community yarn on the 11th of September. This followed our business breakfast on the same topic. At this session, Dr. Zelinda Sherlock provided practical advice on how the community can keep themselves safe in the event of witnessing antisocial or criminal behaviour. When we heard from the community members about their concerns and experiences in dealing with antisocial behaviour, it was quite concerning, to be honest. The next step is to host a roundtable discussion where we will bring together key community stakeholders to discuss solutions for the issues we are facing. It will take a proverbial village, as we say, to make Glenorchy a place we can all feel safe, but this is a very clear focus of our council. And this morning, the CEO and myself attended the Crime Stoppers event, and that was all about, anonymously keeping yourself safe and anonymously putting in people that if you're witness to crime or you know people are connected to crime, and particularly drug offence-driven crimes. And the police reported that 1 out of 3 successful leads have been done through Crime Stoppers. So it's very important that we all work together to keep the city safe. Youth engagement. Council is maintaining its focus on engaging with young people who congregate in our city. Every day after school and during the school holidays, the communities team are hosting activities on our front lawn, as you probably saw if you came in through the front, in addition to their work with schools and community organisations. We're investigating the possibility of establishing a youth hub as a place for young people to hang out and access services. In the meanwhile, because that's a fair bit of work building a business case around that, we are activating the Labour Bureau, or as it's known, the Pensioners Building, or known to other people as the former library, on the front lawns to run council programs for all ages of activities and also as a youth drop-in centre for the afternoons. This space will support information for community outreach and events. Tackling graffiti. I'm very excited to announce that we have started covering traffic signal boxes around Glenorchy with graffiti-proof wrap, and there's 3 wonderful examples there. In addition to the box outside the Jobs Hub, which is the one that features the colourful dragonflies, 2 more were wrapped last week on the corner of Barry Street and Main Road and corner of Peltro Street and King George Avenue. Over the next few weeks, you will see more boxes around Glenorchy being covered in wraps, and we're also working with local schools on designs for even more boxes in the future. So that's another whole project. It's disappointing that the government instrumentalities that are responsible for these boxes won't clear off the graffiti, but we have evidence to show that once they're decorated like this at our expense, they not only brighten up the city, but they are deterring that kind of horrible tagging. Tonight, Council will be discussing a recommendation for the Glenorchy City Council to be the first Be Kinder Council in Australia. The Be Kinder Foundation was established in honour of a 12-year-old young girl called Billy Kinder, pronounced like kinder in kindergarten, also who died in a tragic accident in 2016. The foundation was set up by her family, and her beautiful mother is here with us today, to empower and inspire others through kindness, a quality that Billy consistently demonstrated. Council's childcares have already integrated to the Be Kinder program to give their children the skills to be kinder, more empathetic and compassionate. We think these are the skills that we as adults can also demonstrate and share with our community. So the prospect of becoming Australia's first Be Kinder Council is very exciting. This is a great opportunity to expand on our current programs and activities to build these positive pathways through kindness, compassion, empathy and belonging. And then the 60th anniversary celebrations. Please put Sunday the 20th of October in your diaries to come and help us celebrate 60 years of Glenorchy becoming a city. Our Family Fun Day on the front lawn will include music, food, market stalls and a variety of speakers from across the region. Our history will be on full display with an exhibition being held in collaboration with the Glenorchy Municipality History Group. And a little bit later, we'll be holding a Molly Tomlin exhibition, who's a fabulous artist who's recorded many of the significant buildings and even the more humble buildings in Glenorchy. And that'll be held at the Moona Arts Centre on the 15th of November. Now, you will have seen some work going on at the back of the council building, and I'm going to ask the CEO to explain that.
Thank you, Mayor. So there's work underway with some posts being erected around one of the car parking areas at the back of the council chambers. The work's being done so that we can create a vehicle compound that enables council to acquire 3 electric vehicles and also install 2 electric vehicle charging stations. So council is taking the environment very seriously and looking to, over time, move in an electric direction.
Thank you. And now item 4 is pecuniary interest notification. Are there any elected members with any conflicts of interest? No. 5, response to previous public questions taken on notice. There are none. And now we move on.
Sorry, I missed that. I've got to declare a pecuniary interest notification in item 21, CEO's performance review 23-24 and KPIs 24-25.
Thank you. That's in the closed. Right, public question time. This is an ordinary meeting of the council for the primary purposes of elected members debating and deciding on council business. In accordance with local government meeting procedures, regulations, council will allocate 15 minutes during each council meeting to invite members of the public to ask questions relating to the activities of council. Council's full policy is stated in the agenda, but I'd like to bring your attention to the following rules. Members of the public are to announce their name and residential address before asking a question, which will be recorded in the minutes. Questions are to be put succinctly and in the form of a question and not a comment. Questions must not be inflammatory, abusive, defamatory, contain a personal attack, or otherwise breach any rules of the meeting which have been explained by the chairperson. The chairperson may limit the number of questions asked by each member of the public in order to ensure that all members of the public willing to ask questions are given the opportunity within the allocated time. So as I am the chair, to chair the session, we need to ensure that everyone has an equal opportunity to ask questions. But I don't think that's going to be an issue tonight. So as a member of the public, you are responsible for ensuring your conduct adheres to the rules, and contravention of this will make me very grumpy. I appreciate your cooperation in ensuring this is an orderly meeting. Does anyone have a question for public question time? Oh, Mr. Steenberg.
Good afternoon, all. I have three questions.
Yeah.
The first one is about some quarterly reports.
As familiar as we are.
Oh, sorry. I'm Eddie Steenberg and Mary's Hope Road, Rosetta.
Thank you.
My first question relates to quarterly reports that have been going up on the website for the last couple of years, which list approved planning applications approved by staff under delegation. Now, that's been going for 2 or 3 years now, and they're quarterly reports, and the latest report is now a quarter late. So I ask, has a decision been made to discontinue those reports?
CEO?
I might defer to the director on that one.
No, we are still doing reports, but we are a quarter late because we're actually down on staff in the planning area. So once we backfill vacancies, we'll be actually putting them out again. We've got 2 quarterly reports ready to go out on the website very soon.
Good. Brings me to my next question on that topic. Do those reports actually require planning staff to produce them?
Yeah.
Sorry. Through you, man.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm just looking in the same amazement.
Yeah, it's actually produced by our planning development coordinator, but because we've been down on staff, the coordinator's actually been doing planning work to try and alleviate the load. Unfortunately, that has been put on the back burner until we can back fill those positions, and then we'll be back at doing those reports.
So does that mean you really can't give me a time when I can expect to see those reports?
Mayor, I believe one's almost ready to go because I brought this up last week. So probably next week, I'd say.
Fantastic. My next question relates to my previous requests for statistics about recycling of plastics. And I've received no information yet. The last information I had said something like, this has been agreed to be provided and it will be provided soon. But I haven't seen it. So I'd like to ask whether council is aware of the status of that request.
Thank you. The Director? Yes.
Mayor, I actually chased this up last week with the CEO of Tasway South, and he informed me that he has had discussions with Glenorchy, he has got it approved, and they will be coming out soon, but still, he didn't give me exact time.
So we don't know what soon means.
I could chase it again, but I was as late as last week. I actually did request that they go out because a updated report went to the member councils, still marked confidential. So as soon as we got that, I actually put a call back into them, expecting that you might raise it.
Great. Thank you for that. And my final question relates to the fact that council now has a CEO and a deputy CEO all of a sudden, so to speak. So I'm curious to know why that's happened, and do we still have a general manager?
Do we have a general manager? We're very proud to have a CEO because it's more a status equalisation with all of the city councils. So Hobart, Launceston, Clarence, Kingborough, and now even Brighton have changed their titles to CEO, and it's to reflect the professionalism of their position. And obviously, the deputy CEO is can be acting CEO sometimes as well. So it's a you might be able to help me with that one because it's yeah, that one. Change at the moment. So it's more effective. I think even Huonville has a CEO, yes, and Launceston certainly does. And so it's just a more common title to reflect the duties of the person in the role.
Okay.
The statutory role of general manager still exists in the Act.
Yes. So it's a bit like aldermen and elected members are interchangeable. It's the same with general manager, but general manager usually relates to a country council these days.
Okay. And my final question is, are the duties of the CEO exactly the same as they were for the GM before?
Absolutely.
So nothing has changed?
Nothing at all.
Pure title change.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes, it's more or less to reflect our city status as well. I think that's what I think it was. Thank you for keeping us on our toes with those questions too. Okay. Do we have anyone else in the room who'd like to ask a question? Yes, please come forward. Hello.
Hi everyone, this is Gwendolyn Curtin.
Yes.
Gwendolyn lives at 2 Penguin Drive in Glenorchy, and my name is Marie Bennett, and I'm supporting her to speak to council today. Well, she remembers you. So Gwendolyn's question is, how can council help to improve access to the community for people living with disabilities? Gwendolyn has brought along some photos today of the paths between Penguin Drive and where she goes in Northgate. We've found that some of the paths are overgrown with plants, especially outside Bennett's there. There are poles on some roads which prevents her from being on the path in her wheelchair, and some roads don't have verges, which means she has to cross the road on steep verges, or it is a trip hazard for her in her wheelchair. This means she does not have free access to her community, needs substantial help, and sometimes needs to go in the car. Yes, there was an election. She remembers you from the election.
Thank you very much.
And from the election roll. So Gwendolyn would like the council to consider how they can improve access and to address the broken paths, the overgrown paths, and at times cars parking over the streets, which means she can't get past them at all. On a very busy corner on Grove Road and Roseville there.
Well, thank you very much for bringing those to our attention, Gwendolyn. I concur with you. I know how important it is to have accessible pathways and footpaths, particularly when you're trying to lead a very active life. Can I ask the CEO, you might want to defer to the general manager?
Mayor, I might start and then
Yes.
the Deputy CEO. So council does have obligations under the Disability Discrimination Act to maintain equitable access to all people in our community. We have a long-standing access committee which works to improve access across the city. In terms of the specifics of the road network, I might hand over to our Deputy CEO who looks after our infrastructure area.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for bringing this up. Every time we reconstruct or rebuild a road, we build it to the current standards, the DDA standards. So we do build in, extra width footpaths, right grade, access pathways wherever possible onto roads. And in some areas, we actually cut funds into the existing area as well. So I'll take notes on from Penguin Drive to Northgate. So we'll actually have a look at that. So obviously along Road Road.
It would also be good if we could have a look at the timing of the lights. So by the time you press the button and you get your little green man, it's very quick. You don't have enough time to get a wheelchair off the verge or across the path safely onto the other side of the road. So it would be really good if we can consider extending the period of time to allow people with disabilities to cross the street.
We'll talk to State Road Change Control traffic lights. When the with traffic lights, you get the green person first, and then you get a flashing red. It's still okay to cross during the flashing.
Both are still quite fast. Yeah.
Which areas specifically?
So the lights just between, so when you're coming up towards Northgate, so we've come up from Grove Road, we've come up to the main road, and then we walk along. So there's a couple of sets of lights just down here.
Sorry, and the other part there, as far as the maintenance goes, we are about starting our vegetation control. So we'll look at because we're coming in the spring, so we'll look at the vegetation along that area, and we'll certainly check the standard of the roughness of the footpath. We do have intervention levels, so over a certain drop off, we actually either grind or replace those panels. So we'll have a look at the standards in that area as well.
Sounds pretty good.
Yes.
Excited to have a look.
Yes. So thank you very much, Gwendolyn. I know firsthand that the average person is completely unaware of how difficult it is for someone in a wheelchair. My partner was in a wheelchair for over 2 years, and just the simplest little lip where you can't get a wheelchair over it, or as you say, getting around poles. This is one of the difficulties of being a 60-year-old city. Roads and footpaths were built to different standards that were not acceptable to people now for the accessibility levels we need. I really appreciate you bringing the photos along. Are we able to keep those and get them checked? Thank you very much. But you've done a great job on behalf of a lot of people with the same problem.
Beautiful. Well, we look forward to hearing from council, and we appreciate your time today. And I'm sure you'll be hearing from Gwendolyn at another time. Now she's feeling very welcome in this space.
Yes, she is always welcome. Thank you, and so are you. Director, can I just ask, would we be able to have some sort of answer for the next council meeting, do you think? Yes, thank you.
Well, we will return.
Lovely. Lovely to see you.
Appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time today.
Yeah, no, it's been an honour. Thank you very much. Any other questions from members in the community? No? So in that case, are there any petitions addressing council meetings or deputations? No? So that means we move on to activities of the mayor.
So moved.
8. Could you at least say how busy you've been? Thank you. Yeah, that's all right. So thank you. Alderman Slayes moved it. Anyone like to second it? Thank you very much, Councillor Kendall. Are there any questions or discussions relating to any of these activities?
It's been a very busy month again, Mayor, and I think these things are getting busier because we're crossing over so much with so many other agencies now with the work that the Mayor in particular does. And it's a good ready reckoner of where you go and just the people you see and whatever. So I always find it as a good report to look and view. I've got no personal questions. No.
Thank you. Anyone else got a personal question? No, I'd just like to talk about the one myself on Friday, the 23rd of August, where I did have a meeting with the Premier, Minister Yench and Minister Ellis, and we did take a list of unacceptable behaviour that had been occurring in the city and expressed most strongly our desire to have a more visible police presence and to have more assistance with disengaged youth who are not attending school, and just to connect them back to services to keep them safe. So we were promised that there's work afoot by Minister Yench, and Minister Ellis said that we'd be getting more police from the next output of this, but we yet to see the feet on the ground. So that motion has been put. Are there any further discussions? No. All those in favour, raise your hand. Carried unanimously. And item 9, safeguarding children and young people. So who'd like to move this one? Thank you very much, Councillor Quick. Who's going to second it? Oh, thank you, Alderman King. Anyone like to speak to it?
We had a workshop a couple of weeks ago and this issue was introduced to us. You can see the agenda tonight seems to be a policy night, but in all my years as a teacher and a federal politician and now a councillor, I have never seen such a convoluted, how shall I put it, intricate bits and pieces that seem to come from everywhere, from New South Wales, Victoria. I don't know whether it's been dumped on us by the state government as a result of the inquiry into sexual abuse, but it's almost 100 pages long. And I'm wondering, as a former principal, if I gave this out to my staff and suggested that we would have a council, have a staff meeting on it, I'd have to give them 2 or 3 weeks to inwardly digest all the intricate bits and pieces of this policy. You know, I mean, I know we need to have a policy for youth, but to my mind, I reckon this is going to sit in people's drawers and be dragged out when it hits the fan. One other thing that worries me is an overemphasis in my mind about Aboriginal culture. On the page here, Aboriginal cultural safety, attachment 2, it says, following invasion. Now, did TAC write this? Or did we write it? Or did our staff write it? In consultation with who?
I'll find out for you.
And if you go through the 100 pages, you know, it is, as I say, very, very, very complex. And it really worries me that if I was part of the staff here how they, work through the policy. It's so intricate and complex. It should be so simple. Here are the 10 dot points that we're going to follow when it comes to children's safety. But, I urge all those who are interested in the issue to have a look at it, page after page, tens of thousands of words, and I mean tens of thousands. The policy should be simple, not so complex.
Thank you for sharing your opinion. I understand where you're coming from. Sorry, would you like to speak first?
Nick, I might just mention that from a clarification point of view, that yes, there are a number of attachments in the agenda. The actual council policy that council is considering tonight is a 10-page document, and it does have the 10 standards written down in a pretty concise table. Yes, there are some other documents. So there is a Child and Youth Safe Organisations framework, a compliance guide, and a full consultation report. But the essential part of tonight is about the policy, which is, as I say, only 10 pages. So yes, there is a lot of guidance, and I can understand what you're saying. There's a lot of paper there, but that's stuff that that people that are working in the area can use, use bits and pieces of as they need to. But the policy is basically pretty concise.
So what we put up on our website will be the 10-page?
Yeah, attachment 3, the young people's policy.
Yeah, that's correct. We've got, I'm not sure what other documents might go up on the website in relation to this, but certainly in our policy register on the website, the policy that goes up will be the 10-page document.
So attachment 1, 2 and 4 are guiding documents for noting, and tonight we're adopting the Safeguarding Children and Young People policy, which is attachment 3. Sorry, it was Alderman King first and then Alderman Sloan.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. And the principles of the child safety program that we're putting into place are just paramount in this day and age, and it's sad that it takes so long for the world to recognise this. I'm glad that we're doing this. I'm glad that we're trying to progress things. We'll never get it perfectly right. There are some wordings in there that I'd prefer to change, but I'm not a lawyer and I probably would write it incorrectly anyway. We've done this recently in FSRA and put all our associations under the banner of a similar setup as this, where we put responsibility back on them to make sure that they look after children in an appropriate manner, and anyone for that matter, not just children, but everyone. And so I'm totally supportive of the effort that the staff have made. I understand Councillor Quick's frustration. You can easily get led into all the other stuff, which really does seem to be repetitive and repeat itself and not necessarily go anywhere. Simple, which is what this does need to be simple. It needs to be straight up. You've got to do the right thing and report it if you see the wrong thing, and it's that simple. It really is that simple. So thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Slade?
Thanks, Mayor. Look, I support the structure of the policy. I think this day and age speaks for itself. We're decades late compiling things like this, and unfortunately, we lead it now, but it's been done. I think how I see it as, I just see it as and General Manager, I think it might help a little bit in the summary. I see it as being a list of, it's a framework there. There's like a guide. And if I was using this as a council policy, I would use the policy, the 10 pages. And if I wanted to do some confirmation of what perhaps a determination was, or what something meant or whatever, I would then go to the framework document a bit more, or the guidance document. That's all encompassing from that point of view. I think, Mayor, through you, Mayor, if we say adopt the Safeguarding Children and Young policy, we can mention, I know at the top it says council, but can we mention again adopt the Glenorchy, that's the OWL one, that one there, that last one, number 2, that might just make it a bit clearer, I think.
Yes, so you're moving an amendment there?
Well, no, I'm just saying, with the movement second of mine, we just put in the word there, although we've got that council, but we adopt the Glenorchy City Council safeguarding, so we put those words in.
So councillor Quick, sorry, are you happy to accept that change? Yes.
So
and
it reflects that the 10
Councillor
pages that we're talking about, that will be known as the Glenorchy City Council safe. Is that all right, Councillor, sorry, Quick?
Have you accept that amendment? Yeah, thank you.
Anything that improves,
That's good. Then that becomes the amended motion. And Deputy, do you have anything to say?
Thank you, Mayor. Absolutely important document, obviously protects and ensures the safety of our young people, being mandated with the Act. There's a large compliance piece which has been spent a lot of work on from the state government, so it's a very important document, and I guess from here we can develop our own policy, which we have, and we've got to have high standards and we have to have high expectations, not only as a council, but from our community to uphold the protection and the safety of our young people. I'd really like to read out something here from our policy, and I think it really does. It's a policy statement. It says, we are committed to the safety and well-being of children and young people while enabling their participation as valued members of our community. We have zero tolerance to child abuse and harm. Our people are obligated to prioritise the safety of children when they interact with in the performance of their role and to report conducts of concern. We recognise the importance of child safety in the provision of quality community services. All children who attend services, programs, events and community spaces, including online environments that are delivered, owned, contracted or managed by council, have the right to feel safe, be safe and be heard. And I think those things it really stands the policy up to be able to give us some a really good clear understanding of what it's for. So I fully support it.
Thank you. Any further? Yes, thank you, Josh.
Thanks, Mayor. Sorry, struggling with a few IT issues at the moment. Yeah, fully supportive of the motion. I think it's very important that we've got a clear policy under obligations of the Act, and we're taking the necessary steps to execute. So important these day and age. So it's great to see that we're being proactive and got a really good document. I think the 10-page process. I know I get Councillor Quick's questions and concerns, but I think Council's done their due diligence. It's put together quite a neat document which will be able to be used internally and externally. So.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Just a question. I meant to bring it up before, but I know, and I can't remember where, but it said that aldermen still don't, or councillors still don't need a working with vulnerable people card. Staff do. Now, if we're ever working with vulnerable people, why don't we need one as well, is my question.
I think that has been put back to councils as a choice for councils to enact. I didn't particularly like the excuses that were given for not enacting it. I had to go and visit one of the high schools the other day, and fortunately I have a working with vulnerable people and NDIS endorsed card. So I was quite pleased that I had that to be able to enter the school. And as you're right, all elected officials are regularly in discussions with people, members of the community who might be extremely vulnerable.
And as we come to the end of the school year, and you won't be able to go to all the assemblies, etc., will be required to attend things of that nature. It costs $17 for 3 years.
Well, maybe we can have that as a discussion in one of our workshops. Get the appetite from all elected officials. Okay. Anyone else? Thank you, Councillor Kendall.
Thank you. I'm really happy to see this. I think it is complicated because the issue is incredibly complicated, and it's culture change, which takes a long time. So I'm really happy that this has come out. I think it's our responsibility now to simplify it and to let the groups that use our facilities know what the expectations are, and bring these difficult conversations, like it is just about having difficult conversations, bring them out into the open. And I think a real game changer with this new policy is the communication that's going to be able to go through different organisations. Further bringing this issue out into the light, and because it thrives in silence. So I'm really happy to see this is here, and I want us to take an active role in rolling it out in all of our council facilities. So really happy to support the motion.
Okay, any further discussion? Questions?
Can I sort of
Yes?
sum up?
Oh, I haven't spoken yet.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
So, yeah, I was just going to say that, unfortunately, the history has been littered with hideous stories of care failure, particularly for children. So I just want to thank our staff for the phenomenal amount of work that has gone into coming up with this policy. And I think we can never disregard our obligations as a council for the protection of children. Would you like to sum up?
Yeah, well, a couple of ideas that have been floating around. I mean, we don't operate in a vacuum. All the other 28 councils implementing the same policy.
I believe that.
Are they going to reinvent the wheel?
I think there's an expectation that they do the work.
Yeah.
As I understand it. Do you have any further knowledge?
Well, I do know that our staff member has been working with Legat and sharing the work that we've been doing here with other councils to try and promote a situation where we don't have to reinvent the wheel. I think also the guidance document that you referred to earlier from state government has some standards that are required to be adopted. I don't know the details of this, but essentially there's a mandated level of standardisation required. But the work that we're doing, I think, is at the vanguard, and we are certainly taking active steps to share that work with other local councils.
Okay. Now, we've developed this whiz-bang policy, which I'd like to thank the staff for working tirelessly. Are we going to distribute it to our neighbourhood houses so that they have an understanding of what the new policy is? Are we going to then also take it to our high schools? The schools, they're struggling with the same issue, so we should spread it as widely as possible and perhaps invite some of the schools and neighbourhood houses to an open workshop to discuss, any of the issues that might have, come up when they've had a look at our 10-page plan.
Thank you. I think there will be a media strategy around this.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thanks, Tracy.
And certainly any organisation that operates out of the council premises or on behalf of council will be asked to comply. Okay, so that's agreed on. So could I please have a show of hands for those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Now, the next item is a very special one, item 10, and it's our Be Kinder Council proposal. Thank you. So we've got Councillor King and Councillor Slade moving and seconding it. So would you like to speak to it, Councillor King? Alderman King?
I don't mind the title, Mayor. I'm just very moved by this. This is such a simple thing, and I say that in a non-derogatory term, such a simple thing, a powerful thing to change this world that we live in that's going downhill. And to be kind costs nothing. Well, there is a cost in here, I see that, but for us as individuals, to be kind costs nothing. And I do want to clarify that the cost that we've got in there, just as a question before I go too far, the $585, is that including our staff costs, or is that just the cost of the materials and whatnot? Yeah.
Staff costs, it's incorporated within our normal.
I know, but we should, in a business world, we should direct those costs towards that. I'm not fussed about that. I think it's money that's going to be incredibly well spent however we do it. But the community ought to know what it costs to participate in a program like this.
So, Alderman King, sorry, at the risk of interrupting your thought process there, would you mind?
It doesn't take much, man. It doesn't take much.
Would you mind reading the 5 items on page 28 for what this builds? Because not everyone will have read the agenda.
So leading an annual Be Kinder Day event. Now that's us as council leading that, and I think that's incredible, and I know we've got the right people here to do that. We have the right people in-house. Establishing a designated kindness space within the council and recognising staff who embody Be Kind of values. So I would ask how that's going to actually happen, if we can get some idea of that after I go through these. Adopting a kindness commitment statement and nominating a staff member as council's kindness officer. And I would like to know a little bit more about their role, if we know that already. Hosting and promoting at least one online Be Kinder workshop annually of up to 100 people. And again, to me, it just makes sense, but how we do it's another thing. Supporting a minimum of 3 local schools per year in becoming Be Kinder schools. I would like to change that from supporting a minimum of 3 local schools to supporting all our local schools who will accept our assistance in becoming becoming Be Kinder schools, because there's no reason with the amount of schools that we have in our area that we can't support them all in some way, shape or form.
Well, I totally agree with you. However, there'll be a budgetary element to that, so I don't know whether we can be advised. Do you have that information to hand?
If I could just say that we're about to spend, and we are continually spending money in trying to overcome our youth problem on the front lawn. Whatever we spend on this, besides the appropriateness of it and how the world should be, and sorry if I'm preaching to anyone, I apologise for that, but it's such a simple thing, and the cost is minimal for the outcome, for the return. The cost benefit is far outweighs.
So if we could just take some advice.
Yeah.
So we made this as part of our staff engagement. So for staff, we have kind of program where these materials are already developed, council-wise purchases materials and uses them. We will be developing our own stockpile of, cost materials. So to us, it was a good initiative from that, regardless of all the other considerations. And the staff member is kind of the duties of that role. So if it's not a Be Kinder actions and communications with women, it would be some other form of engagement activity that would be undertaken, because that's the role we have in council. So it's just a matter of this program seemed to be offering what we were looking for, as well as being quite good value in terms of, compared to us developing our own suite of materials and trying to go out there and find alternatives.
Absolutely. In business.
So from a staffing point of view, we already have a staff member that's part of the role.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of undertaking these duties, and the $3,595 actually is the materials, information sharing, and it allows us to go out and share those with schools and other youth organisations. So for us, it seemed to be quite valuable.
It's no brainer to me, and you don't need to reinvent the wheel if the wheel's already fixed and going. So anyway.
So just before we go there, Director, do we need clarification on if we did more than 3 local schools, what impact that is on the budget?
We actually brought out schools and asked for schools who were interested. Now, we're also conscious that around identity curriculum, and we like that it's through their year, coming towards the end of the year. What we're looking to do is go back up to the schools that we're setting the curriculum game and see if we can get more engagement from schools. I'd ask the manager, community,
Yep, certainly, thank you. So the 5 criteria are actually set by the foundation as the minimum that we have to meet. So supporting 3 schools each year is the minimum that we have to hold our status as a Be Kinder council. We can certainly do more schools. It's embedding that program into the schools, and like the director said, it's getting the product into the schools, which is included in that fee. If we wanted to do additional schools, you're looking around $495 per school per year. So it does that for the school, but that's all included. The 3 schools are included in that fee that we're paying already.
So off the top of your head, we don't. How many schools we got? 7, 8, 9, 10. We closed how many schools? 13. 13, is it?
Yeah.
Total schools, yeah. I mean, that cost is minimal. From my perspective, I know I'm throwing money around here like it's mine, but it's, for me, it's minimal. But anyway.
And the idea is, on the follow-up on that, the idea is that we get them started and we kick them off in that first year, and then they'll continue it themselves ongoing. And then we do the next couple of schools. So we also have to work with the schools to get that program embedded in the school and support them in getting up and running.
Will we continue to follow up with the schools that have already taken? So, yeah, okay, that's good. I've probably ranted enough, thanks.
Yes, would you like to say something? I just wanted to point something out. For example, Austin Ferries Primary School, there's 140 students doing this project, Be Kind of project, and you look at Goodwood Primary School and there's 24 students. So it's different because we all order the books that go to the classes. So some schools will be more expensive and other schools will be cheaper, but that's the sort of average. Thank you for that. Sorry, I have to go to Alderman Slade first.
A couple of things, Mayor. First thing, I was very happy with what we had in the workshop to explain those sort of items that Alderman King was alluding to, that I think we need to make sure that we give the schools time. There was a period which they weren't ready for. I think it's good to have runs on the board by having those ones going well in the first point. So I totally agree with you saying, Alderman there, but I just think it's good to have a couple of good runs on the board. Yep. My only query is, it's a genuine query, and I was fascinated. I read the web page and all that sort of thing. I didn't know much about this. It was really good reading and just seeing what the commitment New South Wales Education's done and whatever, and you should be commended for that. I think it's very, very encouraging. But I think from a selling point of view, and this is where I always, we always get those people in the community say, well, what does council get involved in those sort of things for? I just think those points 1 to 5, and this is a communication thing, should be spelled out a bit more. So when we go and actually put that into the Gazette or we put it on our website, leading an annual Kinder by Be Kind a Day event, what do we actually mean by that? Second one is, where is the kind of space going to be? Alderman King referred to, this is not putting any doubt that these are not the right things. I just think they need to be spelled out a bit more clearer, where they'll be, what they're going to bring. It'll sort of fit in with initiatives. And I just think it's home and home, so it's fantastic. But I think it's going to be, that will make it much clearer, that's all. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't have the logo here. I think we were going to have the logo. Has anyone got it? Because it's a beautiful rainbow with Be Kind underneath. I've got badges here, but you can't have it till you cast it. I think that's bribery.
What's it?
Something to share with the community.
I see. I got you, yes.
You'll have to come very close, Ron.
Sorry, don't pick her on.
Okay, yes, thank you. It's a beautiful logo, and as was discussed, it's already in place at our childcare centres.
Yeah.
So has anyone like to contribute? So, Councillor Quick.
As a former principal, how are you going to ensure that the teacher chosen to implement this in the school, if he or she gets promoted or moved on, there's someone to, that the program just doesn't die? Because I can cite dozens of examples where it's like a pilot program and the teacher's doing a wonderful job, then move somewhere else, and for want of someone else being involved, the program just folds. So,
yes, someone like to answer that?
Through you, Mayor. So the program's actually run by the youth leadership team in the school. So it's run by the grade 5 and grade 6 kids who are in the leadership cohort, and it's endorsed by the principal of the school. There will obviously be a teacher allocated to it, but that will change if teachers move on. But the idea is that it's the grade 5 and 6 kids that actually steer it, present it, drive it inside the school. So it creates youth leadership, if you like, as well at the same time.
So when the grade 6s go to Montrose Bay High School, will there be a Be Kind of Montrose Bay High so that they can carry that on? So hopefully some of the people that are a bit untoward, like the person who stabbed my 4 tyres in the car the other day, I know where he is and what school he goes to. So it'd be nice for that continuity, the 5s and 6s gradually go into the feeder schools to the high school.
Yes?
That's one of the ultimate goals. So if children are going to different primary schools and then say they go to Cosgrove High School, they've already got that common interest and understanding about what the Be Kind project is. And they can potentially work together on their SRC groups and expand on it into the high school. So they've got real ownership over it.
Any further contributions? Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you, Mayor. It's obviously it's come out of a very sad story, which is has evolved into becoming an amazing story, and it's having some really incredible impact. I was bullied as a kid going through school. You wouldn't know that, You look at me now, but bullying was something I faced, and I remember I'd love to have had something like this, where kindness is such an important part of that isn't probably taught by our generations anymore. So we need to continue to do what we can, and I think being a leader in this space, I think is a really important thing and something that can have a positive impact on our young people. And I'm really proud to be a councillor that is fast becoming a leader in this space. And I guess all the detail and the operation side of things, I trust the team. I trust you guys to sort that out. But the overarching thing of being a Be Kind of council, I think is a great achievement and well done. So I fully support the recommendation.
Thank you. Any further contributions? I'd just like to say that one of the officers here at the council and myself have been following a influencer I think is the word, on Facebook. Not a conventional influencer, but a person who's had a fairly tragic background or a tough background, and a lot of that time was spent in the city of Glenorchy. And this person has just recently went round Glenorchy and was talking to people that I would say would be recognised as having disadvantages and probably that he could relate to. And there was this opinion through all of these people who considered themselves the troublemakers of the last sort of generation. And they were constantly saying things like, we were rat bags, we got into trouble, we did bad things, but the elements changed. And what they were sort of alluding to that is that there's a generation coming out that's a little bit angrier, a little more aggressive, certainly some of them with knives. They're really struggling. These are traumatised kids with traumatised backgrounds, and that they need help being connected, and they need help feeling like they matter. And so I think this program fits very well with our trying to be a much nicer place, a more welcoming place for people to live and to raise their children and not have the risk of bullying. And I just think it's a lovely program that will help us fulfil our mission of making this a much better city to live in. And so I would like to acknowledge Danny Mason-Kinder, who is here. She is Billy's mum, and she invented this program to turn her daughter's tragedy into a positive. So I thank you very much, and thank you very much for allowing us to be the first city, if we approve this. I'm not trying to be presumptuous, but you can feel the love in the room, to be the first council to be a Be Kinder council. So it's our honour to thank you very much for making your attendance here today too. So with no further discussion and wide recognition that this is a wonderful policy or program, back to the movie, yes.
Thank you. I thought you just better wind up there for a second.
Thank you. Yes, I have to be kind to you too.
Yes.
Would you like to sum up, please?
I appreciate Deputy Mayor's
Prompting.
comments about being bullied young and growing up in Claremont. Claremont was a tough place, and I appreciate, as others may not, your situation. And change is possible. It really is. And here we are in this world at the moment where we need to change. We need to get better. I had the opportunity on Wednesday through Saturday to lead a group of 14 to 17-year-olds on a trek through the back hills of Glenorchy, 85 of them. And I watched these kids work together, and they will be tried and tested in difficult circumstances, but I watched them be kind to each other. And it's possible. It's more than possible. It happens. But it has to start somewhere. It has to start with us. And so thank you so much for bringing this to us. Thank you.
You said only 45 got back.
Yeah, no, it's happening this week. It's happening this week.
Anyway, thank
I'll make it
you.
get back.
Do we as a council support Glenorchy City Council becoming a Be Kinder Council, in fact being the first Be Kinder Council in Australia? Those in favour, show of hands, that's unanimous. Thank you very much. Now we all get to see the logo.
Thank you so much for bringing this.
Thank you. Thank you.
The rest of the meeting might be fairly boring. You don't have to stay, but
Yeah. And we'll have this logo up on our website as soon as we possibly can. To very proudly promote that we are now first Be Kinder Council in Australia.
Just a question, Mayor, where can we get these badges from? You want to buy these, or you got? I should have known.
Website.
So thank you very much. Well, that's exciting. Oh, there's another exciting item. Item 11, financial performance report to the 31st of August. Yes, it always gets you excited, Alderman Cockshut. I'll let you lead the way. Thank you. And who'd like to second the motion? Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, there's not too much really bad to report, really. Everything's going really well. Team's doing a great job, so great work. Obviously, favourable results in regards to revenue towards budget, and same for expenditure. So it's great to see some good capital works going on as well, and that we're living within our means. So I think it's great to see, not in the red, so which is great.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much, Councillor.
I'd like to thank, once again, Alan and Tracy for their excellent work in the presentation. As Russell, the councillor next to me, he realises when we're on the audit panel, people complain that, we're not transparent and, you can't find out the facts. Well, another monthly review. The only area of concern, not concern, but to highlight is the major projects, capital works, and, the understandable delay in Tolosa Park and what happened out at North Chitwell, with the theft of all the various bits and pieces that, some undesirables decided to knock off. But all the other graphs, they're all heading in the right direction. And it'll be really interesting when we start working out the budget next year. I think we'll be in a really good position. We've just become the first Be Kinder Council, sorry. And I think we're leading the way in Tasmania with the way we've been managing our budget and our expenditure and the efficient way that we've spent it. I highlight all the lovely parks that are now, being overwhelmed with kids and parents experiencing, the money we've spent. It's great. So, as I say, Alan and Tracy and the team that work behind them, 3 cheers. Well done.
Right, outstanding. Any further contributions? No? Well, sorry? Yes. I second your thoughts very much, Councillor Quick. It is such a relief to be coming proudly discussing our finances for a change, and they are looking good. But as you know, in local government, there's always something that pops up and give you credit. But I am in a confident position now that things are very well managed. Now, the mover of that was Alderman Cockshut. Would you like to sum up?
All good, thanks.
Thank you. In that case, I put the motion. All those in favour, raise your hand. It's carried unanimously. Move on to item 12, Capital Works Status Report. Who would like to cover that one off? Oh, thank you, Councillor Kendall.
Sure.
And thank you, Deputy. Would you like to speak to it, Councillor Kendall?
Yeah, I think this is fairly straightforward, just a status update on how our capital works are progressing. Disappointing to see that there are further construction costs expected this coming financial year, but we can't really control that. Yeah, I'm happy to open it up for discussion.
Thank you. Anyone have anything to discuss? All right, please.
I've got a question. Oh, did you have something?
No.
Sorry. I couldn't help but ask about the cable, the 640 metres of mains cable that just disappeared. That's quite an operation, and I guess my question is, has there been police action? Is there any way that we can avoid this happening in the future? It's mind-boggling.
CEO, would you like to pass it on? Or? Yes, thank you, Deputy CEO. Would you like to
Thank you, Mayor.
discuss it?
It would have been quite an operation if the cable was laid in conduits already in the ground. So they actually had to pull the cable out of those conduits, and 640 metres is quite a lot of cable, especially when it's not tightly wrapped on the reel drums. So it would have been a couple of vehicles like utes or trucks to take it away. The police were notified, are investigating. There's CCTV cameras on. Unfortunately, where they were located and what they were looking at is mostly the construction structures, not necessarily the ground, and they were able to sort of work behind those cameras. So, yeah, there's been a bit of follow-up, bit of investigation, but I don't think anyone's actually been caught at this stage. But what it did mean is that the cable, the conduits had to be dug up in certain areas, relayed, new cable. It's $35,000 worth of cable installed.
And the beams?
Somebody, prior to that, somebody had made off with some laminated timber beams and, you know, quite, 7 or 8 quite long lengths. So, yeah, the site has been targeted with a few items, but they're probably the 2 main ones that are causing a few delays. So,
They were significant beams. They went across the highway too, didn't they? Carried across the highway?
apparently they carried them across the walkway over the highway, where they must have had a vehicle waiting on the other side of in Jibble area.
So this is a very good time to remind our community of Crime Stoppers, and if anyone's aware of that particular incident, which was significant in the delay it's caused and the financial repercussions, please report it to Crime Stoppers. Anything else, Councillor Kendall?
Just good luck at getting that to a scrap heap, which will take it, and it sounds like there's upped security on site now.
Yes.
Okay.
Have repositioned the cameras and installed some new ones as well. So they're covering a lot more of the site than what the original ones were.
Thank you. No other commentary? Oh, Debbie?
Yeah, just a question to clarify around the adjustments to the expenditure. Just to clarify, there's obviously no additional hit onto the budget. Is that correct?
Yeah, through you, Mayor, the adjustments are because now that we've, so when we set budgets, we sort of start in about November, December. And so trying to estimate the forecast back then is a bit difficult. So, and these are for only grant funded and or what's in the reserve already. So once we sort of finish the financial year, we know exactly what's left. So this is an adjustment to the budget to adjust those budgets to reflect what's left and what we need to measure ourselves against, I guess, to monitor the budget. So there's no additional funding requested. It's just purely adjustment to the budget itself.
Yep, no worries. Thank you.
Thank you. I might also draw your attention to the toilets at Windermere Bay that were also damaged. I believe in that case, Director, that the culprits have been caught. Is that correct?
Mayor, we actually had CCTV footage of the people who did the damage with the
Yes.
fires.
And I mean, this is the most frustrating thing. We've just built the community beautiful booth. And, you know, within days, there was reckless damage, which means that young mums and dads and families who go down to let their kids play on that park can't use the facilities. The other thing I was going to say that I thought Councillor Kendall would be excited about was the solar panels. So we've got cost benefit analysis based on quotes received indicated that the solar panels for the roof of this building would be $95,000, but will save up to approximately $25,000 per annum, depending on the time and weather conditions and electricity costs, putting the payback time for the panels themselves at around 5 to 6 years, beg pardon. So all done and dusted, a very good report, and again, thank you to the officers for that. So we have several recommendation items here, 1 and 2, with a whole list of little corrections. So all those in favour, raise your hand. Again, carried unanimously. Item 13, updated council policies. Who would like to move this one? Thank you, Councillor King. Do I have a seconder? A quick, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, I'll second it.
I'm not quick enough.
I'll second it just to keep you in the loop there.
Yes, thank you, Alderman King. Okay, Councillor Quick, would you like to talk to this motion?
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in the no spray policy. Someone with a native garden, encouraging local fauna to visit my place, and with a lovely park across the road. Are people alerted when it's going to happen? I know the other day I visited the IGA store in Montrose and came out and there was this great purple coloration on the footpath and in front of the Ampol service station. Do people get any warning that they're coming to spray? I mean, is there a designated, area each month?
Can I ask the CEO to ask the director? Or the acting CEO?
Through you now, first of all, I'd say the policy is really focused on people being able to request that council does no spraying, let's say essentially at the frontage of their property. That's the purpose of this policy. But I might throw to the deputy in relation to our spraying practices.
Thank you.
We advertise annually before we start the annual spraying program. And so we ask people if they would like to not have the area on their frontage spray, that they contact council, fill out the form, we put it on our register as the policy. But yes, we do advertise it once a year. Not specific to location, it's just generally, because we'll probably have a few different areas going concurrently.
So the no spray policy is more aimed at landowners rather than suburban mums and dads?
Through your mayor, no, everyone.
Everyone?
All property owners, suburban or rural.
Okay, right. I know it's sort of a tenuous link, but all the traffic islands that we have in Glenorchy, if you look at them, there's about 8 inches of dirt and stuff growing out of them. They haven't been cleaned for ages and ages and ages. I know it's a difficult thing if you suddenly had a truck with a flashing light along the main road, you can inconvenience things, but as a city, it looks pretty dowdy. I mean, some of them are really embarrassing to the stage I feel like getting the shovel out and putting my 4-way flashes on and getting out and, whether they can come and hose it out, high pressure hoses, or, the old-fashioned shovel and, throw it on the back of the truck. But, I think we need a program, because we're saying, we want you to do this, but, on the other side of the coin, we've got some areas that we need to really look at.
I do believe we've been delayed because of weather conditions, but it is seasonal now, is it?
Sorry, the cleaning of road islands, so we do get the street sweeper around them, but the internals and the tight corners is a very manual process, so we don't physically do that by hand. So, but I'll make a note of that to.
Some of them have weeds.
Just drive around and have a look at them, and some of them are really a real embarrassment.
Well, we can't have that, councillor Quick, so we'll have to see what we can do to fix it. Okay, there being no further discussion. Oh, councillor Kendall.
Thank you. Yeah, through you there, I had a question about the footpaths policy and wanted to acknowledge the presence and contribution from Gwendolyn coming in her wheelchair, and also the amount of people in our area that use walkers or walking sticks. So my question is, what qualifies a suburb for getting curb ramps for accessibility? I'd sort of assume that as our suburbs get more densely populated, that more suburbs become eligible for that when they're up for renewal. Is that the case?
So all renewals will have the disability accessibility standards. So everything we renew would have curb ramps and the whatever's required to meet those standards. In the already existing infrastructure that doesn't have that, we would, depending on the need, if we know there's people who actually need it, we would put them on a priority list and cut them in as required. But anything that's renewed will always have the new accessible ramps installed as standard.
I was walking around Lutana recently and was surprised to see that there aren't any curb ramps in that area. So it'd be almost impossible for someone in a wheelchair or walker to live in that, rent or buy in that area. So hopefully that's on the list soon.
That's the thing with the older infrastructure, older standards. So but yeah, if it's up for renewal, it will be renewed to the standard now. If we know that somebody's in that area that needs them, they can contact council and we'll look at that, installation into the existing infrastructure.
That's good to know.
Thank you. A question?
The footpath policy, those yellow ripple things that have suddenly jumped, been placed just about every intersection. The lady who was in the wheelchair previously mentioned some of the difficulties she faces. I know people have come to me and said that, have they been placed in such a way that people with those motorised scooters and things and people with sight impairment are able to, have we had discussions with the Council of the Ageing about A, their sighting, and B, how effective they are and whether they are a deterrent to some people, because we've probably got the oldest age cohort of, in the area in southern Tasmania.
I think they are for sight impaired, aren't they? Yes.
Yeah, they're actually called tactile indicators or tactile tiles, and they are part of the disability discrimination standards, and they are installed for people who are visually impaired to either give them the surface that they can feel with their sticks, or they can see, because they've got to be a contrasting colour, and they are installed in a way that meets a standard once again.
Because we're going to have a heck of a lot more motorised scooters over the next 5 years, and if they are a bit of a hindrance, we ought to be looking at something that might need to take place. Just an issue that's been raised with me.
Did you have anything else, Councillor Kendall? Is there anyone else on this subject? No. So then I'll move back to Councillor Quick. Is that your summation, or would you like to say anything else?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, in that case, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, raise your hand. Carried unanimously. Item 14 is our procurement and contracts exemption report. Do I have a mover for this?
So moved.
Thank you very much, Alderman Slade. The Deputy will second it. And would you like to talk to it?
Very straightforward recommendation, Mayor. It's in lines to when these do come forward and the rationale behind why they are formatted in that way. And I've got no questions. I'm happy with the style of the report and the recommendation.
Thank you. Any further contributions? No, so I'll put the motion. Sorry, yes.
Too fast. Yeah, I had a question about the Mercer contract. Was that, so it's a wage assessment that they're undertaking, is that for specific roles or for the whole of council? Or am I confused?
I might start off and then perhaps get the director involved. So we have a requirement under our enterprise agreement to review our classification system, so our remuneration structure. At the moment, we're working with quite an outdated system, and the Mercer, we've previously done work with Mercer, which is one of the big HR firms that does this kind of work, and they had done extensive work probably 5, 6, 7, 5 years ago to review our structure. So essentially, what they would do is they will they've got a proprietary system where they calculate the work value of a job, and then they link that to their data that they have in terms of the market, so that we can better understand the relativity between the value of particular jobs and how much they should be paid for those jobs. But I might throw to the director just to...
Exactly what the CEO has just explained. It's looking at where positions have been created, so new positions we previously didn't have in the 2017-18 period. It's also looking at market relativity. So in that period of time, of 6 years, the value of certain professions, could it move relative to the market? So it's also ensuring that we're comparable with market. So it's a generalised. But the exemption was because of the previous work done, so it was much more efficient and effective for council to use that.
They're a very prominent and well-known organisation in that field of expertise. That is another example of that could be resource sharing across councils, because if every council is trying to find that sort of money for relativity, because usually in small councils, you know, we poach one from another and the price goes up consequently.
Yeah, they do. I probably shouldn't say they charge like wounded bulls, but they certainly know the value of their product and charge accordingly. But what the benefit we have on this occasion is that because we had done that previous work with them, we were able to harvest the work that we had done previously and to gain economies for this particular job.
I think it's something we could raise with Legat as well. All right, any further discussion? No, so I'll put that motion. All those in favour, raise your hand. We're on to item, it's carried unanimously. Item 15, notice of motion. Questions on notice without motion. Notice.
Yeah, I have a motion without notice.
Seconded? Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. I've lost track.
Noted.
You're seconding it?
Yeah, noted it though.
All right.
I've seen it.
Yes, I've seen it too, so that's fine.
That's all right.
Yes.
So I certainly let fellow elected members know that I was going to raise this motion. Certainly concerning around the Montrose Bay intersection. It's been overlooked again in the state government's budget for this coming year. And while I appreciate it's not a direct council responsibility, it does affect our community safety. It was raised in November 2023 and it's been since then raised again. We've written to Minister Ferguson in January 2024 and Minister Betts in June 2024. And each time the response has been, we're still designing, we're still waiting for funding. So it's a concern because we're still waiting and potentially a serious accident to happen. So what's concerning is that there was a $556 million allocated to the roads, partly funded by federal, but there's no mention of the Montrose Bay intersection at all. So it's still to this day a dangerous intersection, and it needs some attention from our state government. We've got school children and parents crossing a highway. It's consistently becoming more and more people taking the unsafe risk of crossing the dual-way highway. So it's been 13 years of inaction, I feel, and the Premier has outlined a strong plan to build better roads and bridges. Well, this is an intersection that's needing some improvement. So I'd like to move the motion that I've put up there that says that Mayor Hickey speak directly with the Premier responsible for infrastructure and Minister Betts responsible for transport as a matter of urgency, either face-to-face or over the phone, and ask the following questions on behalf of elected members and our community to explain why the dangerous and unsafe Montrose Bay intersection was not funded in the current budget, or 2024-2025 budget. Can the Montrose Bay intersection receive a firm commitment for inclusion in the 25-26 state budget? And of the $75 million allocated for upgrades to the Brooklyn Highway, which state is pursuing from the federal government, is the Montrose Bay intersection included in that funding request? And if the funding isn't received, what are the next steps? So I feel like we need to put some more added pressure onto the situation, hence my reason for raising the motion.
Could I just add something to that motion?
So you're amending it?
Just need that typo. What? It's just what are.
There you go, you just had the principal put a red pen
It's
through
a
it.
school teacher in there.
Get away with real estate, maybe one just.
Come on now.
Okay, and what was your?
Or I wondered if there's a way of adding that Mayor Hickey speaks directly with, and words to the effect passes on a letter signed by all aldermen, or correspondence signed by all aldermen. I don't want to take away anything from what you said is right, but I just think we need to have them have something in their hand as well.
That's fine. I just feel like we've written twice and we're getting a little, that's my reason is that we've been sort of just given a letter back saying be quiet. And I don't like being said to be quiet because we're not loud enough on this issue. And
that letter might just go to the media, I don't know.
Well, we can put it on our website.
On our website, and they can pick it up.
So I'd say our community is quite interested in it, and it's been a long, ongoing issue.
Or it's just we do something like you put it in writing as well as speaking.
Yep.
It adds to the narrative.
For sure. Yeah.
I believe we can do that, and we can also put it in the Gazette.
Yep.
Our letter and then
Signed by all of us, yeah.
Yes.
Mayor, I wholeheartedly support that. Can I make a couple of comments?
Yes.
The first comment is that it's quite bizarre that this is the only school area in Tasmania that has an 80-kilometre zone going past through it.
Mm-hmm.
The only one.
So true.
I can categorically, having been on the Black Spot Committee for a number of years, so it's the only one where you're going along or you've got a car pulling out in front of you and it's in an 80-kilometre zone for X amount of time during the day when there's children's activities. I know and have attended, there's been between the entrance to Stoughton Street and the intersection where this one is, there's been at least 6 or 7 fatal accidents there in the last 10, 15 years. So there's no way in the world that they wouldn't pass the criteria in which they make their mind up in relation to whether it be black spot or whatever. So these are factual things. They are really real facts. I just want to, you might not know, but these are factual things. So the main one is the fact is there's no other school or area that has 80 kilometre an hour going through. There's a school there.
Thank you. And I'd like to make a contribution. I tried to do a little marketing video of that very spot on a Saturday morning, and the traffic was so insane, it was scary. and deafening. So it wasn't a very good video because you couldn't hear something because of the traffic. But the risk to life there is absolutely insane. So I fully support your motion. Someone going to second it now?
Yeah, I'll second.
Yeah, it's Alderman Cox. Anyone else like to discuss or talk to it?
That's good.
I can assure you, Alderman Yaxley, Deputy Mayor, that we will pursue it, get everyone to sign it. I think we'll put it on our website, Facebook, and we'll await the answer because it's really, we've all had a go at it, so I think you're right, it'll make a bit of noise. Okay, all those in favour, do you want to say something?
Oh, man, look, if you look at what they've done up at, I don't know the areas, I think it's Riverside, and just see what they do up north to what they do down south. There's a variance in how things are done. Now, what I'm saying here is that they haven't even made an attempt to put flashing lights up, at least during the children's. These are very cheap, run-of-the-mill, very easy things to do. There's actually no intention to improve the road safety near that intersection at any time, but particularly during school time.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put that motion. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, unfortunately, I have to close the meeting to the public, and I have to thank. Would we have a motion first to move
So
into
moved.
closed? Yep. Thank you. So it's moved by Alderman Slade, seconded by Alderman King. All those in favour, raise your hand. Thank you. It's carried unanimously. So I'd like to thank everyone who has taken the time to show interest in their council tonight and watched either online or in person. We're very grateful, and we hope you have a good evening. Thank you.